Welcome to the Toastmasters Experience. My name is Evelyn. Get inspired by today's Toastmasters Insights. Enjoy the show.
Welcome everyone. Today I am delighted and excited to be interviewing Evelyn on her own podcast.
Ooh.
My name is Michael Said, and Evelyn has just learnt this for the first time now.
Yes.
I've planned this for a long time, and she had no idea what I was doing. I said, it's going to be great. It's going to be the best one you've ever done. And it will be, because we're going to be talking about Evelyn. So, Evelyn, we're going to start. Now, I want to know, what Toastmaster clubs are you in, and what Toastmaster clubs have you been in?
Okay. Oh, my goodness. This is exciting. Thanks, Michael. Okay. I'm currently in the Blue Mountains Toastmasters. I've been a member for almost 20 years. It'll be 20 years next October. I've been a member of Enhance Toastmasters, which is another Blue Mountains club. I was a member there for, I think, maybe 7 years. And then I'm currently a member of another club called Stage Time. And I've been a member of Stage Time for 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Evelyn. Now, I see you as a very competent speaker. You've done a lot. Why did someone like you decide to join Toastmasters?
At the time that I joined in 2007, I was going through a career change. I was becoming a celebrant. And I thought, you know what? I do get nervous. I'm going to join Toastmasters because I know that should help me to become a better celebrant, a better speaker. And yeah, that's kind of why I joined. I thought I'll join Toastmasters.
I know you've had a very interesting career before you became a celebrant. Can you, as long as you like, it's your podcast, can you tell us what you did before and some of the interesting things that you've done?
I grew up as a military brat, so I grew up living all over the world. And I think because I ended up growing up all over the world, after I went to university, I just wanted more. I didn't want to just get a normal job. So I ended up becoming a flight attendant. So I was a flight attendant for Delta Airlines for almost 8 years. And during the time of me flying, that's when I met my Australian husband. So that's how I ended up moving over here. When I moved over here, I did work in the hotel industry for a little bit. And then my first husband and I, we ended up buying a tour company. And yeah, so we had a tour company, and then that's how I got introduced to the Blue Mountains. And yeah, and then that's kind of my story.
That is so interesting, because in those careers, you would have spent so much time speaking. So to still feel that you need to join Toastmasters, I just find fascinating. Of late, you've got into podcasting. What was the drive to do that? What got you into podcasting?
I think I'm naturally very extroverted, as you might know, Michael, but I'm not confident, if that makes any sense. So I think Toastmasters gives me confidence in learning how to structure a speech and, getting all of the great feedback that we get from our members, as long as it's positive. No, I mean, as long as it's constructive. I find that it's made me a much better speaker. And I do tend to talk without thinking. So the good thing about Toastmasters, it does make you reflect and talk slowly. And the thing about podcasting, which I love, you find your speaking sort of kinks. Because I have to edit the show, I realize oh my gosh, I say amazing, way too many times. I should really be quiet when someone's speaking. So podcasting has taught me as well how to become a better speaker, as well as Toastmasters. And I think I love interviewing Toastmasters because naturally they're good speakers anyways, or they're learning to become better speakers. So I know that there shouldn't be too much editing. And I found that when I do edit, I'm usually editing myself because I'm saying so many filler words. So in fact, doing podcasting has helped my speaking just as much as Toastmasters.
Yeah, that is amazing, because one of the advice I often give new people is to record themselves and look for the little strange nuances where they clear their throat or they splutter words. And what you're doing is a reflection of that. So you're actually learning that. That is really fascinating. How do you find people to interview? Because you've got access to so many. How do you?
Well, I haven't been that good as of late. As you know, I was away on quite a long holiday. So, but I was able to interview the London Toastmasters when I was in London, and that was quite exciting because I did a little bit of rove reporting. So that was quite exciting. As soon as I find out someone's a Toastmaster and I think they'll be sort of a good fit on the show, I'll ask, oh, would you like to be on the show? And I have asked a lot more people than actually are on the show, because it's funny, even if someone is an experienced speaker, there's something about being on air, even though it's pre-recorded. It's not like it's a live radio show, but they get really nervous. So they don't want to be on the show. They'll actually say no. So that's surprised me. I've found more beginners who just joined Toastmasters. They're the ones who want to be on the show. But I like them to at least have at least 6 months experience in Toastmasters before I invite them on the show.
I've listened to every one of your podcasts.
Oh, thank you.
Some of them I've listened 2 or 3 times. I got addicted to the one on myself, actually.
Okay.
Because I did it for a reason, because people don't like the sound of their own voice. So I forced myself to like the sound of my own voice. So that's what I got from it. But what I've found when you interview people is you have a technique in asking a question that you clearly know the answer for anyway, because you've interviewed so many people, but you ask it in a way that you make out you don't know the answer. Do you know you do that? That's really clever.
Oh, I didn't realize.
I've just observed that in you, that you're able to ask a question that is obvious to you already, but you frame it in a way because you know the audience doesn't know.
Right.
And you say,
right.
Now, what happens here? And it's just intriguing how you do that. Oh. Of the people you've interviewed, now you can't say me.
Yeah, okay.
Has anyone stood out and just been, wow, that's a real surprise packet. I had no idea that person was so interesting. I know you want to say me, but don't. say someone else. Is there someone that really you thought there'd just be a good interview and it really turned out to be exceptional?
I've interviewed, there's a lot of people I've interviewed who I knew would be really good, and they were good, and some who haven't been as good as I thought they would be. Wow, that's really put me on the spot. The person who sort of sticks out is probably Lana Shaba. She's got such a beautiful, strong voice, and it came out on the interview. And I think it makes a difference if people actually come into my studio. I've interviewed a lot of people on air, and you just get the energy of the room if they're in the room with me. So I think when I interviewed her, 'cause she did come over up to the Blue Mountains, and I know it's not possible if you live in America. It's not possible to come to the Blue Mountains. But if you come and do the whole sort of experience, I do know someone who really surprised me. So Lana was one. There was another person I interviewed. Her name was Frankie Taylor. And I watched her at an evaluation division competition. And when I heard her speak, I just wanted her on the show. And I went up to her and I said, I've got to have you on my podcast because I like you so much. And she surprised me. She said, oh my gosh, I actually listened to you. This is such an honor. So she ended up coming up to the Blue Mountains a few weeks later. And her profession is a professional organizer. And we had such a good show, and her story surprised me. And that's what I'm remembering right now. So I really liked Frankie, and I really enjoyed Lana. But everyone has been really interesting.
They offer something, don't they?
Yeah, they do offer something different. Yeah.
Something about Lana. I was going to her home club's anniversary, and when I walked in, I heard her voice, and I thought, I know that voice. Yeah. And she made the day because she's so organised and prepared. And I left feeling that this was a great event because of her. Yeah. She really is exceptional. Yeah. Now, I know you interviewed someone who does a Toastmaster podcast within Australia, and you got hold of her, and you both interviewed each other. And
yes.
And you both promoted the podcast.
Yeah, I interviewed a Toastmaster member. Her name was Melanie Surplice, and her podcast is The Talkative Toastmaster. If I remember correctly, because I interviewed her back in 2024, and it was right around the conference in LA, just before I left to go to Los Angeles. She had been a member for not very long, and the podcast was one of her assignments. So we have the podcast assignment, and I think it's level 4 or level 5 in one of the paths. And she decided just to do it for a whole year. So I was kind of promoting her podcast, and she was promoting mine. After I interviewed her, I went to LA. I ended up meeting a lot of her club members in Los Angeles because they had another member there, Colin Williams, who was one of the contestants, was one of the top 28. So that was really cool. It's like, oh my God, I feel like I know you guys because I've interviewed Melanie, and they're like, yeah, we heard the podcast. It was really great. So yeah, that was quite fun. It was a sort of a collaborative thing we thought we'd do, kind of started at the same time. And I love her opening music. It's as fun as my opening music. I think it's fun to do collaborative efforts with other Toastmasters and other podcasters.
Yeah, helping each other. You mentioned the convention in America. How did you find that experience?
Oh my God. It was absolutely amazing. It was my very first time going to a convention, and I felt like I had to go. I mean, not that I had to go, but because it was 100 years and I really wanted to go. And I was planning on going to the States anyways to visit my family. So I thought, what better way to go to the convention as well? And it was really exciting at the convention because, as you know, Michael, there were so many members from our Stage Time Club were there. And I felt like there were about 20 or so. I can't remember, but I just remember everywhere I turned, it's like, oh my God, they're from Australia. I know them. So I thought that was pretty exciting.
One of the interesting people you've interviewed is the famous cricketer Don Bradman. Now, do you recall that? You interviewed him at he's not really Don Bradman. Don Bradman died about 25 years ago. Okay. But we have a Toastmaster who looks exactly like Don Bradman. And I grabbed you and I said, do you want to interview Don Bradman? You didn't know. I don't think you knew who Don Bradman was. Yeah. But you interviewed this guy. He loved it.
Yeah. Oh, I remember that. So that was at our district conference just last year when I did a little bit of a rove reporting through the conference and was able just to get little snippets here and there. But yes, I remember him. He has a daughter. Is that correct? And his daughter does really well at competitions.
She won the table topic contest.
She won the table. Yeah, and I think she did well in evaluation as well or something.
I think I said to him, sorry, Don, your daughter's now more famous than you.
Yeah.
He laughed at that.
I remember that, yeah.
What I've found with your podcast is that you get to know people. And I feel like you said you feel connected already. You interviewed Furzy, who did very well in the contest.
Yeah.
Through that interview, I felt that I knew him as a friend after listening to what you said. How did you find interviewing him?
Well, I actually interviewed him online. Furzy has this personality. It's really easy to connect with him. I don't know what it is. I did find we actually had a lot of things in common, like weird things in common. He was born in the Philippines, and as you know, I'm half Filipino. He went to college in Texas, or I know he taught high school in Texas. We're around the same age, and I thought we had really interesting things in common. So I felt connected to him before I actually met him, and then speaking to him, I just love the way he speaks. He speaks slowly. He's just so entertaining. And I did see him in Los Angeles when he competed on the world stage. And I just thought he was the funniest person I'd ever seen. So maybe that prior connection made me warm to him already. And then finding we had those few things in common made it even more of a connection.
He brought a level of humour to the international final that you don't normally see. It really was special. What advice would you give to someone who wants to get into podcasting? Is there anything simple they should do? How would they start?
Well, the first thing is, and this sounds really silly, you need to fall in love with your voice. And I know that because most people say, oh, I hate the way my voice sounds. I hate the way my voice sounds. So make sure you listen to yourself and just fall in love with your voice. And you have to like that you are sending a message out there. Because if you just love your voice, it's not going to you're not going to get that far. There's so often you can talk to yourself, but you have to love that you're giving an important message. And I think Toastmasters, more than anything, is so important right now, especially the way we communicate. We don't. We need to learn how to communicate, and we need to learn how to connect with people. And you get that from a Toastmasters meeting. And you get that from listening to podcasts like this as well. So I divert. So we want to go back to why should people do podcasting? First, fall in love with your voice. And if you feel like you've got a message that you want to share and you're really passionate about it, don't do it for fame. You're not going to get famous at all unless you already have a following already. But if you want to just spread a message and you think it's worth spreading, then that passion's actually going to show through the airwaves. And of course, you have to smile and love it as you're talking.
That's a fairly simple formula. So getting the idea to put forward either whether you're going to be talking on common interest topics or a hobby or something, that's obviously the driver to make it effective. No, I get that. Do you need fancy equipment? Can you do it with...
Well, as you can tell, I kind of have fancy equipment because I'm just that type of person. I like to have the best of the best. I know people do podcasts. They can do them on their phones now. They can record on their phones and put it on air.
So, Evelyn, I got the idea to do this when you interviewed me. And then I asked you a question and you said, oh, I'm going to edit that out.
Okay.
And the question I asked you, I'm going to repeat it again, is why don't you become an area director one year? And you froze almost. And I said, look, if we had a TV on, Evelyn's blushing, she doesn't know what to say. I'm still going to keep on asking you that question. So whilst you don't have to answer it now, that's going to be a permanent thing I'm going to ask you always, why don't you become an area director? Now, I said I've had this in my head for a long time. What did you think I was going to do today? Because I wouldn't tell you right until you started. You had no idea what was happening.
I had no idea. I thought we would just talk about the conference or contests or whatever. I had no idea, like the upcoming international conference, because I know that's coming up. And I really had no idea. So I was up for whatever. So thank you. This has been actually fantastic. Yeah.
I thought that you interview so many people, the one person that people wanted to hear about is you. Because you are kind enough to ask other people to tell their own stories. So I thought, we need to hear your story and we want to tap into your brain. I want to say now, what advice would you give to someone who has joined Toastmasters? Because you normally ask it differently. You say someone who's thinking of joining. Someone who's already joined Toastmasters, what advice would you give them? Because I have specific advice I give people. What's your advice?
My advice is actually to give it a good year, not give it, 6 months. 6 months, a lot can happen. You don't actually get to experience all the roles, and always raise your hand up to do a role during the meeting. Be Toastmaster, be Table Topics Master, put your hand up to give the icebreaker right away, as soon as you can, evaluation, and maybe not to take things so personally. I find that seems to be a really big issue why some people tend to quit. So I think us as older members, we need to take that on board when someone new joins. We need to really support them. And it's baby steps. But also let a new member know that too, that, this is not just learning how to speak. It's a whole sort of self-development of taking on board feedback, learning how to evaluate. So take it slowly, like make sure you've joined for a year, giving it a chance, and not just go to one club. Because when you join, you can visit other clubs. I think visiting other clubs, it gives you a better perspective as well. In this day and age, I think Toastmasters is more important than ever because of the way we communicate. We don't. We basically communicate via text, or we just watch those, those reels and stuff. And I do that as well. I know I do that as well. But there is something about our meetings that really connect people, putting our phone away, listening you learn listening, you learn so many skills at Toastmasters that you would have never realized. And the connection you get from listening to other people. People really go deep and with vulnerable stories because they want to express that. And I've got to be honest, I don't know about you, Michael. I feel the stories that I'm hearing at my Toastmasters Club are so much more vulnerable than they've been in the past. And I think because we don't do that anymore.
Yep, that's so true. That's so true. Look, I think as humans, we have a natural desire to meet up. We're gregarious people. We want connection. And Toastmasters gives us that in a world where we're now separated. We're unique. We don't connect with people. I run Speechcraft a few times a year. And at a course recently, you talk about being vulnerable. This guy at the end spoke about how hard it was for him to come to Speechcraft, why he's been putting it off, the fear of public speaking and how it stopped him in his life and and the impact. And I'm listening to this, and everyone in the room was dead silent. And when we did the evaluation, I said, we're going to evaluate him last. And I said to him, you've just given us the perfect newsreel to promote people that come to Toastmasters. I thank him for his courage and commitment, but the whole room just became frosty with, we were just so intrigued listening to this guy, and he had us in the palm of his hand. He was nearly in tears, and that's the connection you talk about where people go really deep that you wouldn't normally find outside of a club.
Yeah,
No, that's so true. So my advice I tell people, something I learned after 10 years, and that was just don't say no to any public speaking opportunity, because take everyone that comes your way, even if you don't know what you're doing, work or privately or at Toastmasters, and things will just grow and grow and grow. So, Evelyn, I want to finish by thanking you for what you've done for the community, because what you've done is allowed other people to have a voice they wouldn't normally have. You've given them a platform to express their views. You've done it selflessly. You don't ask for money. You've just given up your own time. You're promoting our organisation. You're providing a service that we just don't see the average person do. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for coming on board. I'm sorry if I surprised you or shocked you with this, because you had no idea what we're going to do.
No, thank you.
I hope you've got some good content.
Yeah.
And I know your millions of listeners all around the world will be striving and struggling, and not struggling, but wanting to listen to this podcast.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Michael. It's been such a pleasure. I'm really touched, and I'm really humbled. I don't think I'm doing anything special at all. I actually do love my voice. Well, so I do love to do the podcast. I mean, as you know, I've had a bit of a break. I want to get back into it, and I will. I am getting back into it, but
and we may do another one where we can sit down and plan the questions a little bit better, because you were totally unprepared. You didn't know what was coming, and you've acquitted yourself fairly well, I would say.
Oh, thank you.
And I would rate you as one of the top people that you've podcasted, even though it was yourself.
No worries. Thank you so much. And I'm.
I'll let you do the sign off, because it is your podcast.
Okay. Thank you so much, Michael, and thank you to me. And until next time for the Toastmasters Experience. Thanks again, Michael.
Thank you. It's been a real pleasure, Evelyn, and it's ticked off my bucket list now. I've done this.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you so much for your company. Please tune in next time to the Toastmasters Experience.